Hello, and welcome back to Your Brain Lied, the podcast that helps you understand why your brain sometimes leads you down the garden path. Why are we sometimes drawn to emotionally unavailable or frankly toxic people, even when we know better? It's like our brains are screaming, "Danger, proceed with caution." But our hearts are saying, "Hold my beer." Why does this happen? Let's unpack it. First, let's be clear. No one wants to be in a relationship that makes them feel constantly anxious, insecure, or devalued. But sometimes what we consciously want isn't the same as what our subconscious is drawn to. It's like saying you want to eat healthy, but then reaching for the chocolate cake when you're stressed. There's a deeper driver at play. And a lot of that driver comes down to something called attachment theory. Now, don't let the theory part scare you. It's actually a really simple idea. Basically, it suggests that the way we bond with our primary caregivers as children shapes our expectations and behaviors in romantic relationships as adults. It's like imprinting, that thing where baby ducks follow the first thing they see as their mother. Our early experiences create a blueprint for how relationships are supposed to work. Think about it like this. Imagine a little kid who consistently cries out for attention, but their parents are often busy, distracted, or emotionally distant. Maybe they're working long hours, dealing with their own struggles, or just not particularly attuned to the child's emotional needs. Over time, that child might learn that their needs aren't always going to be met, and that expressing them might even be met with disappointment or rejection. This can lead to what's called an anxious attachment style. These individuals often crave closeness and reassurance, but they're also constantly worried about being abandoned or rejected. On the flip side, imagine a child whose parents are overly controlling, critical, or intrusive. Maybe they stifle the child's independence or dismiss their feelings. That child might develop an avoidant attachment style. They learn that closeness feels suffocating, and they prioritize their independence and self-reliance above all else. They might push people away or struggle to express their emotions. Now, fast forward to adulthood. Someone with an anxious attachment style might find themselves drawn to emotionally unavailable partners, because on some level, that dynamic feels familiar. It recreates the emotional landscape of their childhood. It's like their brain is saying, "Okay, this feels like home. This feels like what I know, even if it's painful." They might subconsciously hope that this time, they can finally win over the emotionally unavailable person and get the love and validation they craved as a child. They're trying to rewrite the script, even though it's a very difficult and usually unsuccessful endeavor. And someone with an avoidant attachment style might be drawn to partners who are equally avoidant or even a bit clingy. An equally avoidant partner reinforces their belief that closeness is scary and suffocating. A clingy partner allows them to maintain distance and control in the relationship. It's a way of confirming their narrative that relationships require a sacrifice of personal freedom. It's not just attachment styles, though. Unmet childhood needs play a huge role. Think about it. What did you need most as a kid? Was it consistent affection, a sense of safety and security, validation of your feelings, or the freedom to express yourself authentically? If those needs weren't consistently met, you might unconsciously seek them out in your adult relationships. Let's say you grew up in a family where emotions were often dismissed or ignored. Maybe you were told to toughen up or stop being so sensitive. As an adult, you might be drawn to someone who seems strong and stoic, hoping that they can provide the stability and emotional security you lacked as a child. But the problem is, that person might also be emotionally unavailable, reinforcing the very pattern you're trying to break. It's like you're trying to fill a hole with something that's actually creating a bigger one. Or maybe you grew up in a family where you felt like you had to constantly earn your parents' love and approval. You might have strived for perfect grades, excelled in extracurricular activities, or always tried to be good. As an adult, you might be drawn to partners who are critical or demanding, subconsciously recreating that dynamic. You might believe that if you just try hard enough, you can finally win their love and acceptance. But again, this is often a losing battle, because those individuals may not be capable of providing the unconditional love you truly crave. Another example is that some people come from families where there was a lot of drama or chaos. The constant tension, the unpredictable outbursts, the feeling of always walking on eggshells. It can be exhausting, but weirdly, it can also become familiar. As an adult, someone from this background might be drawn to partners who create similar chaos in their relationships. It's not that they want the drama, but the absence of it can feel unsettling, even boring. It's like the brain has been trained to operate at a certain level of arousal, and anything less feels wrong. It's comfort disguised as chaos. Now, let's talk about the toxic part. Why are we sometimes drawn to people who are downright bad for us? This can be a really difficult question to answer, because it often involves some pretty deep-seated beliefs and patterns. Sometimes it's about low self-worth. If you don't believe you deserve to be treated well, you might subconsciously seek out relationships that confirm that belief. It's like you're saying, "See, I knew I wasn't worthy of love and respect." And that's a tragic belief, by the way, and one that is untrue for every single person. Another factor is familiarity. If you grew up in a household where there was abuse, neglect, or manipulation, you might be more likely to tolerate those behaviors in your adult relationships. It's not that you think it's okay, but it feels familiar. It's your normal. And sometimes, the devil you know is scarier than the devil you don't. It also can be difficult to tell the difference between a loving relationship and an abusive relationship. Without the experience of healthy love, the patterns of abuse become normalized. There's also the savior complex. Some people are drawn to toxic individuals because they believe they can fix them or change them. They see the potential underneath the dysfunction and believe that with enough love, patience, and understanding, they can help the other person heal. While compassion is a beautiful trait, it's important to remember that you can't force someone to change. And often, trying to save someone else comes at the expense of your own well-being. It's like trying to pull someone out of quicksand while standing in it yourself. You're both going down. I want to make something very clear. None of this is about blaming the victim. If you've been in a relationship with an emotionally unavailable or toxic person, it's not your fault. You're not weak or stupid or somehow deserving of the mistreatment. You're simply human, and you're operating based on deeply ingrained patterns that were formed in your childhood. And the good news is, those patterns can be changed. So how do we break free from this cycle? How do we start attracting healthy, fulfilling relationships instead of recreating the painful patterns of the past? The answer is healing. And I know that sounds vague and maybe a little bit cliché, but it's the truth. Healing involves understanding your attachment style, identifying your unmet childhood needs, and challenging the negative beliefs you hold about yourself and relationships. It's about reparenting yourself, giving yourself the love and validation you didn't receive as a child. One of the most important steps is to become aware of your own patterns. Start paying attention to the types of people you're attracted to. What are their qualities? How do they make you feel? Are they emotionally available? Are they respectful and supportive? Are they consistent in their words and actions? If you notice a pattern of being drawn to people who are emotionally unavailable or toxic, that's a huge red flag. It's a sign that you need to do some deeper work. Another crucial step is to challenge your negative beliefs. Do you believe you're not worthy of love? Do you believe you have to earn someone's affection? Do you believe that relationships are always difficult and painful? These beliefs are often rooted in past experiences, and they're not necessarily true. Start questioning them. Ask yourself, is there any evidence to support this belief? Is there another way of looking at this situation? It's also important to practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Recognize that you're doing the best you can with what you have. Forgive yourself for past mistakes, and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Healing is a journey, not a destination. It takes time, patience, and self-compassion. And finally, don't be afraid to seek professional help. A therapist can provide a safe and supportive space for you to explore your past experiences, identify your patterns, and develop healthier coping mechanisms. Therapy can be incredibly transformative, and it can help you break free from the cycle of attracting unhealthy relationships. Think of it as giving yourself the instruction manual you never received. So what does this all mean in terms of attraction? As you heal, your attraction patterns will naturally shift. You'll start to be drawn to people who are emotionally available, kind, and supportive. You'll no longer be attracted to the drama and chaos of toxic relationships. You'll prioritize your own well-being and refuse to settle for anything less than you deserve. It's like you're recalibrating your internal compass. The things that used to feel familiar and comfortable will start to feel wrong, and the things that used to feel scary or unfamiliar, like healthy, stable relationships, will start to feel appealing. It's a process of rewiring your brain and retraining your heart. Healing isn't about becoming perfect. It's not about never making mistakes or never experiencing pain. It's about developing a healthier relationship with yourself and with others. It's about learning to recognize your worth, to set healthy boundaries, and to choose relationships that nourish your soul. Okay, that was a lot to unpack. I know this stuff can be heavy, but I hope it's given you some food for thought. I want to leave you with a couple of practical takeaways and reflection questions to consider this week. First, think about your past relationships. What patterns do you notice? Are you consistently drawn to people who are emotionally unavailable or toxic? If so, what do you think might be driving that pattern? Spend some time journaling or reflecting on this. No pressure, just observe. Second, identify one unmet childhood need that might be influencing your current relationships. Was it a need for affection, validation, security, or something else? How might you start meeting that need for yourself rather than relying on someone else to do it? This isn't a quick fix, it's a long-term project. And finally, ask yourself this question: what do I deserve in a relationship? Really let that sink in. What kind of love, respect, and support do you truly deserve? Don't settle for anything less. Thank you so much for joining me on Your Brain Lied today. I hope this episode has been helpful and thought-provoking. Remember, you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness. And you have the power to create the relationships you desire. Until next time, take care of your brain and be kind to yourself. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.